Hey everybody, Bearded Rogue here, and back with another BGGCon video. This may be the last one. We'll see how long it goes. If not, there'll be one more after this where I talk about my own games and prototypes and how that went. But first I wanted to talk about other people's prototypes, because I played a lot of prototypes, which I love playing prototypes. Like, if you ever see me at a convention and it doesn't look like I'm crazy busy or crazy stressed out, ask me to play your prototype, because I will do it. I love prototypes. So, let's jump right in. So the first prototype I played was the first night that I was there. I got in, we played a quick game of Gracias, and then we jumped right into a game called Time Warp, which is by Jonathan Gilmour, and it was lots of fun. If you've ever seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show or heard the song The Time Warp, you know how to play the game. There's a little bit of instruction on exactly how the cards move, but it uses a pretty standard deck of cards. You're trying to make a poker hand that is the best at the end of the game, and you're passing cards around the table. You know, a jump to the left, you pass a card two people to your left. A step to the right, you pass a card one step to the right, and so on and so on. So there's actions that are tied to each line of the song, and once everybody kind of knows what they are, you can play faster. I don't know if you could ever play, like, in time with the song, but I think that would be an awesome, awesome thing to do. I think that would be a lot of fun, and it's a really fun game. It's really neat because the cards move around the table in really interesting ways. Sometimes you'll get back the card that you got rid of at the beginning of the round, but most of the time you end up getting something that somebody else was discarding, and occasionally you can end up creating things like full houses and stuff like that out of the junk that other people are just getting rid of over and over again. Really cool game. It's I believe it's going to become part of the Button Shy lineup, maybe one of their games of the month or something in the future, but really fun prototype. I had a blast with it. Next, I played Nighthawks from Chris Rowlands. Nighthawks is a cards as minis game. So all of the cards are spaceships, and all the spaceships have turn radiuses and move around a table surface. You can have it comes with various asteroids that you put on the table that are blocking terrain, and you have, movement sticks to move your guys around, and each guy has a turning arc on the front and the back that determines how much they can turn and what directions they can face. All of the ships have different abilities. There's multiple factions. Each time you play the game, you'll use all of the ships of one faction except for one of them. So there's a little bit of variance as you pick your ships, and I expect that there will end up being even more ships later on for the various factions. We played a game of one faction that's like super speedsters. They're really highly maneuverable against a faction that could do things like eat the meteors to gain extra energy, or one of their ships could turn into a stationary weapons turret, and one of their other ships could fly through it to make it move around and everything. It's a really cool game. Really simple game. Plays like a miniatures game. Small amount of cards. Really neat. I think a lot could be done with it. There could be a lot of factions introduced. There could be a lot of ships for each faction. There could be a lot of different terrain types that are introduced that might change up the gameplay, but it's a really solid system in general. It's got a rock, paper, scissors-esque resolution mechanic instead of like dice or anything. Instead, you have a luck, a skill, and a grit card that you have in your hand, and they each beat each other in a rock, paper, scissors circle. However, all of your ships have stats attached to them. So this one may be, this pilot may be incredibly lucky or incredibly gritty, but have really bad skill. And so you're disinclined to play the skill card, because if the other person plays the skill card, you'll lose the tie, as it were. So maybe you want to play the card that loses to skill, but maybe you want to play the card that beats skill because they know that they can tie you on skill. And if you play the card that skill beats, then their skill card beats yours. So it's a really interesting decision as to which card you're going to play for the resolution mechanics. But really cool game, really small game, lots of expansion potential. Big thumbs up from me. I had a blast with that one too. Let's see, what's next? Played a game from Ace of the DFW Nerd Nighters and Michael Eskew of Dark Rock Ventures and Council of Verona fame. They don't really have a title yet. I'm going to call it Retro Shooter. It was kind of Space Invader-y. But we were all people on, like, on... I don't know if it's the ground or in a ship. I think we were on the ground, like in a battle station, trying to defend the planet against aliens that were invading down. The aliens kind of come down almost Space Invader-ish, and you're moving from one weapons platform to another to try to shoot them down before they get there, and you eventually have to take out their boss, and there's different weapons systems that you have, but it's a dice... It's a dice placement game. You roll your dice at the beginning of the turn, and then everybody cooperates to figure out exactly how to use the dice to best defend your location before they blow it up. And you've got things like EMPs that can stop them from moving, and you can recharge your shields that defend you so you don't lose overall hull or physical damage or whatever you want to call it. But it was a really cool game. I'm looking forward to seeing future iterations of it. I think it's got a lot of potential. I know that both Ace and Michael are really good at developing games over time, taking things like Dark Rock Ventures started as a game on the back of a business card, and they developed it into the big box of gorgeous wooden bits and UV spot coating and artwork that it is today. So I know that these guys know how to design and develop games. So if this is the core that they're starting with and it's already a good game, I really look forward to see where it's going to go in the future. Let's see, what's next? I played a game at the Unpub event. So I went to the Unpub event on Friday. I had 2 spots that were booked. I was there from noon to 3, and then again from 4 to 7. And while I was there, I played a couple of different games. I played a game called Franchised, which I'm calling a social Euro. It's from 64-ounce Games, the wonderful gentleman who does all of the accessibility stuff for the blind in gaming. All the sleeves with Braille on them so that they can, pimp out their games and play all the games that we love without the difficulty of having someone read the cards to them. So really awesome stuff that he's doing, but this game is pretty neat. It's got a little bit of a Tetris-y feel to it. You're all different corporations, and you're all basically kind of expanding to create Malllandia, as it were. That's my term, that's not his term. You're corporations, and you're trying to expand your brand over an area, and so you're building different franchises and stuff like that, and all of the pieces are like different Tetris-y shaped pieces that you connect to each other, and you try to cover different area of the boards, and you score points for the different regions that you cover and the different areas that you cover on the board. And then there's a really cool system where you're using dice, and the dice give you your resources, but you can use those resources to actually upgrade the size of die. So you start with like D4s, and you can upgrade them to D6s, and then D8s, and then D12s, I think. I can't remember the exact dice, but you can upgrade them to larger dice over time. And they're all capped at a minimum, so like if you have a D12, you'll never get less than 7 resources. I think it is, or maybe it's 9 resources. I don't know. Either way, they're all capped. So that they always perform better than the die below them. So even though you're upgrading the dice, it's a straight up upgrade, not just a bigger probability chance. But the really unique thing, and the reason I call it a social Euro, is because you can actually, whenever you take actions, other people can kind of piggyback on those actions. And if you both piggyback on those actions, or if you allow someone to piggyback on your actions, then both of you get cards that can be used for resources later on. And that's a really cool mechanism inside of a game where you're trying to decide, do I, help this guy out? Do I think I'm already winning and I just want to keep kind of pushing my agenda, or do I think I'm a little bit behind? Am I behind this guy? Is this guy a threat? So you're always kind of assessing where everybody else is and deciding how much help you want to give them and how much help you don't. I think I won that game. I don't remember, honestly. I was much more focused on feedback at the time because it was at the official Unpub event, but really cool idea for a game, and it fits that same kind of space as Catan, where it's a social Euro game. It's not straight math. There is a social element to who you're trading with and who you're working with periodically, and I think it fills a niche that doesn't get filled a lot anymore. Like, a lot of people just play Catan, but I think Catan is kind of overstaying its welcome with a lot of the older crowd. They've just played a lot of Catan, and so this might be something that could kind of jump in there at that level and do pretty well for itself, I think. But that was franchised by 64 Ounce Games. That was pretty cool. Again, I'm still not talking about any of mine yet. I want to get everybody else's out of the way. So then I played Step Right Up from Daniel Newman. And Step Right Up is a really cool idea for a game. It is a carnival, and all of you are basically carnies running your own attraction, whether it's the carousel or the oddities booths or the roller coasters, or can't remember what all of the attractions are, but you all have your own attraction, and you're trying to draw in rubes. It's very P.T. Barnum-esque. Like, you're trying to draw in the suckers to go to your attraction so that you can score points. And it uses a rondelle mechanism, and the rondelle changed multiple times over the course of the convention. It was a game that got a lot of development and a lot of heavy hitting as far as playtesting goes. So it's probably not even quite exactly like I'm describing to you. The theme will be the same, but the mechanics I'm not going to go too far into because I'm sure it's different at this point. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm excited to see what direction it goes in because it's got a very unique theme, and a rondelle game is something that's kind of, I won't say fallen out of fashion, but you don't see a lot of them anymore, and it's a pretty neat idea, and it really works well for this idea of the types of things like going to a circus where you're repeating the same actions over and over again. You're getting people into your line, you're getting them seated in your ride, the ride's going off, they're getting off and exiting, you're loading the next group of people. So there's a repeat action thing that the rondelle really helps simulate, actually, of people getting on and off all of these carnival rides. It's pretty neat. It's a cool idea. So I'm going to continue following that one as it gets developed. I expect that I will see it at Unpub, and I'm looking forward to that. I love getting these early previews of the games that then show up at Unpub, and I think this one will do well. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else on my list that isn't mine? Looking at various things. I played a... I did a little bit of work with Chris and Aaron and Maddie on a game that they just kind of spontaneously were messing with on the spot that involved playing cards, but I honestly can't remember enough of it to talk about it beyond these guys have really cool brains, and I like the way they work, and I like the way they design. So it was really cool to see that and be a part of someone else's initial design process. I always love doing that, seeing how other designers work and seeing if there's anything that I can just take and use for myself. But that's it as far as other people's games. I think I'm going to cut the video here because we're just about 15 minutes. If I played your prototypes, thank you very much for allowing me to engage in your design process, and I hope my feedback was useful and or valuable, even if it was just, God, I loved this game and it was a lot of fun. You know, again, as always, like, if you have a prototype and I'm in an area and I don't look busy or stressed, ask me to play. I love playing prototypes, and I'm more than happy to jump in and give people a hand with that stuff. So, yeah, that's it for this video. Next video will be all about my games, so I'll talk to you then.